and shadows fall, I'll be beside you whenever you call. When worries weigh heavy and fears take flight, I'll be your strength, guiding through the night. And when the days are dark and heavy on your heart, I'll be the voice to guide you through the dim. Strong walls may crumble, but within you've got the spark. Just turn the key, let light dissolve the grim. Did you think you were alone in your feelings? Strike a match, let your inner strength be seen. Welcome to all things serious. In the depths of your despair, where demons roam, I'll be the hand to hold. You're never alone. When storms rage fierce and winds blow strong, I'll be the shelter in your soul where you belong. Welcome to all things serious.
Yeah. Juicer, how you doing? DC, how you doing? Rody Gal, how you doing? Manda Panda, how you doing? Kevin K, how you doing? So, I was supposed to do a live on grief and loss, but it would be awkward to celebrate a friend's birthday today on the same live stream. Okay. Now I'm just waiting for them to come into chat so I can tell them happy birthday. So Regina, my friend, how you doing? So she just turned 21 years old. Okay. So before we get this live going, I'm going to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friend Regina. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, friend, and thank you for being here. So, I want to talk about a few things, okay? So, in the past, you know, I've had a few people ask me, how can you cover mental health if you're not a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Well, you don't have to be a medical professional or a mental health professional to cover mental health. Sarah, how you doing? It's just like you don't have to be, what's that word I'm looking for? You ever been to an AA meeting, right? Or an NA meeting, okay? Do you think majority of those people that speak and talk at these meetings are professionals when they talk about recovery and sobriety? No. The only time you see a professional is when you go into a rehab or when you go to a therapy appointment, okay? So Manda Panda, today's her 2-year sobriety. Congratulations. Let's sing happy birthday to Manda Panda on her 2-year sobriety. I need a song where I can sing happy birthday to people who are going through sobriety and have hit their yearly mark. So that's amazing. You know, That is amazing, man to Panda. 2 years and still going. And still going strong. You know, I started this channel and a lot of people know I started this channel because I want to help other people. Am I a medical professional or a mental health professional? No. I'm somebody who has dealt with it and still do with it. So, yes, it's not. I don't give medical advices. I don't tell people what to do. I don't say, "Hey," I share my thoughts, what's helped me get through life. Tracy, how you doing? So, I go live because I create an outlet for people. I go live because YouTube is, there's a lot of negativity in YouTube. There is. There's a lot of negativity in YouTube, you know, and some people need a safe place to come and talk. Jody Ann, how you doing? So, you know, I don't, Kathy, how you doing? It's raining where I'm at, so it's been raining all day. Everyone's welcome here. Yes, this is so accurate. For some of us with mental illness, we just need to know we're not alone. Okay? Everyone's welcome here. You're welcome to come hang out. You know, I'm not going to cover things that aren't important to me. I only cover things that are important to me. You know, so correct, Kathy. No one is claiming to be a mental health professional. Just good fellowship and no judgment. That is correct. That is correct. You know, so I'm working on. I'm working. You know, getting people to do come up on panel and talk about mental health is very difficult. Getting people to share their story is very difficult, and it's understandable. You know, so but if people want to come up and share their story, I let them come up and share their story. You know, I give them the place where who knows who's listening. You might save somebody's life. Who knows? You know, somebody might be going through something and just hearing a voice of reason might be like, hey, I just walked into the right place. You know, being depressed is part of life. It's in how you deal with it. Everybody gets depressed. Things happen that we have no control over. You know, it's all in how we handle the situation. You know, one thing I learned is if struggling with mental health, you know, you got people that understand you and people that don't understand you. So keep the people that understand you close. And the ones that don't understand you, keep them at a distance until they do. Tomorrow, I will be doing a live on grief and loss. I did my research, but my mom comes to me and she's like, you know, your friend's birthday is today, and you got to go to live early and celebrate her birthday. So here I am. I went early. Sarah, I'll go up and try not to eat myself. Uh, there are many people out there that don't understand you. That's part of life. What's up, Sarah?
Hello, Eddie, and everybody else. How's it going?
So she's asking Chat, how's it going?
I'm asking Eddie and everybody else, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
So
you're doing better every day, I hope.
every day I'm doing better.
Glad to hear that.
Every day. Every day.
Fantastic.
So you know, I got people behind me that really care. I got people behind me that really care and support this community, and that's what matters. Support.
Exactly. Having a
So
support system is one of the most important things you can surround yourself with when you're having, issues with depression or any mental health issues in general. It's good to know that people care about you, and some of those people that care about you might also understand what you're going through. And that's what I love about this community. And as I kind of mentioned in chat, I am a psychology student, and I am also in therapy myself. And I heard a comment, and we're not going to mention who that comment was by and where it was at, but they said that what Eddie's doing is extremely illegal. And I'm just like, oh, for God's sakes, you people are just going to try to come up with anything to just shame what somebody is doing. Well, this community is one of the most beautiful communities on YouTube, in my opinion, because Eddie, you are so genuine and so raw with your emotions. And a lot of dudes can't do that. A lot of men in general can't do that because you guys are taught, keep everything in, don't show your emotions. And you're out here putting your truth out there, just like it's okay. We support each other and we're allowed to do this and feel these feels. And, I'm a big supporter of that because I think too many people, they are raised a certain way because their parents were raised that way. It's nobody's fault, really. It's just generational influences that we've had, because back in the day, people, Great Depression times, there was poverty and war. And, there's still that going on, of course, in some places. But, it's like you just need to put up and shut up and get through life. And now
yep.
we're starting to realize you don't have to do that. And it's not good for you to do that. We're supposed to we're supposed to let ourselves feel things. We're supposed to feel the hard things, the hard emotions per se, so we can work through them. And like I said, I'm a big supporter of what you're doing, Eddie, and I really do appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I know a lot of other people do too. So, I mean, I know your community is still growing, but I think more and more people are starting to find their way into here, however it is. And, you know, you even get the curious people that are probably coming in here from other people, you know, areas that may not be so pleasant. And are like Jay, for example, you know, she came in here and she was bored and probably wanted to talk a little smack, but she realized that this is like a really great, loving environment. She's like, no, Eddie's a good guy. He's really actually genuine. Because there's a lot of really crappy people on the internet. And but, you know, like I say, there's a lot of horrible people in the world, but there's also still a lot of good in the world. And sometimes that's a little harder to find, but once you find it, you need to stick with them if you can, because those are the people who are going to be your rocks and, you know, they're your support system.
Yes, I agree. What's up, DC?
What's up?
DC,
Hello.
Sarah, DC.
Hello,
Nice to
Sarah.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hello, chat.
So I've known DC a while, about a year now, maybe a
Awesome.
little over. Yeah. He there you know, like everybody, BB, how you doing? So I'm starting yeah, me and DC go way back. We've had our moments, you know, like everybody does.
Yeah.
Are you raising your hand, Manda Panda? You want to come up on panel, friend? I'll drop the link. You raising your hand. I know in comment you did say shut up in color, but I can't cam up in color, so it's very hard to be quiet in color if I can't cam up. You know, I would do some ASMR, just coloring. I'd put the microphone down where, you know,
Eddie, that's why
the
you need to
pen meets
get one of
paper
those.
or the mark.
I was going to say that's why you need to get yourself one of those wireless cameras so you can have your thing and also a camera pointed to the thing so you could color and talk at the same time.
Oh, you're coloring. I'm like,
Yeah,
it
I
took
could.
me a second to figure out what you were saying. Okay. Yeah, you need like a little I have a ring light on a little tripod thing because I was gonna do more stuff on YouTube when I had my podcast a while ago, but it kind of fell through. But what I actually use it for is all my therapy appointments and my psychiatry appointments are all virtual. So it's very convenient to just set it down so I don't have to hold the phone the whole time.
Oh, okay. Man Panda said no, it's a military term. They expect you to clam up and not have feelings. Or claim up and not have feelings. Sweet and
Oh
sleuthy, my
yeah.
friend. How are you doing?
Oh yeah, the
Okay, so
military is
Panda Panda,
very
what branch, sir?
oh,
Yes. The military is very strict.
yeah, my boyfriend was in the military, and of course, you know, a lot of us have had loved ones, spouses, you know, what have you, that were in the military, and it's very they basically brainwash you. They break you down and they rebuild you.
My
And
my father was in the military, 101st Airborne back in the late 80s.
oh,
He was at
awesome.
Reagan's inauguration.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That he was the president when I was born.
Yeah.
That's
Served in
so cool.
Canada, Panama, and Kentucky.
That is amazing, you know. Thank him for his service. I always thank veterans and first responders and stuff. I have a soft spot, you know, for those people who protect us, whether it be here or, overseas. My dad was an EMT and a firefighter for a chunk of my childhood, and I'm very, like I said, just very
Thank you.
pro those people.
Well,
It's very,
I wish the VA was that way.
unfortunately,
I'm
the
dealing with
VA is
my
rough.
father in his later life with his health and stuff like that, and dealing with VA facilities and doctors and rehabilitation centers, and they're just horrible.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate that there's not better care for our veterans and, you know, i- and our active, military people, because I use the VA too, I believe. And, it's so sad. Not getting into politics, but my whole perspective is as long as there's, homeless people, especially homeless veterans that have fought for our country and, are struggling financially and mentally and physically, I think we should be focusing on our own home more than anything else. But, that's the
I
never ending
totally
battle,
agree.
isn't it?
I
Yeah.
totally agree. I have a few friends and relatives that are veterans,
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah,
no
and
such thing
it's
as an ex-military.
no, your mind is in it forever. I mean, even my boyfriend, he was National Guard and he did his basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, but he was raised in Puerto Rico, so he did a lot of his stuff in Puerto Rico after he did basic. But since he never technically got deployed, like he was supposed to, and he got sick, and it like fell through, and then he kind of, he did get honorably discharged because I think he was in the reserves for a little bit after that, but whatever. But because he never got deployed, he was National Guard and reserves. He never got deployed, was never considered active. He gets no benefits from the military or from the VA. And I mean, he's still like, of course, there's people who have seen horrible things much worse than he had, but he's still like, he's got a lot of survivor's guilt because he lost, people that he trained with. And he's just like, oh my God, I didn't get to, I mean, that affects them too. So it's like, you may not have been active, but I know there's all kinds of red tape involved and they only have so much funding and they got to take care of the ones that, did the most. And like, I say I'm not going to talk politics, but it's like all this stuff, like it's just has to ends up in that boat, and we're not going
Yep,
to go there.
yep.
So it's sad.
I got
It is.
I got a lot of friends, and I will mention this: the VA hospital needs to do better by their
Oh,
veterans.
absolutely. I think if somebody fought for their country, because, like, for example, nowadays you need to be 21 to drink. You need to be 25. Was it still 25 to rent a car or whatever? But you can fight for your military at 18. They give you a gun and train you and send you away at 18. But there's, it's like can't drink a beer, you know what I mean? Kind of legally, at least, what have you. But you can fight for your country and sign your life away, possibly literally. And it's just like they need
Yep.
to take care of them. I mean, we need to take care of each other so much better as it is, but these people that give their all, it's like the VA needs to do better. The armed forces need to do better in
They do.
general.
They do. We have a lot of problems here,
Yeah.
and I've been screaming from the rooftop. So my friend said you're allowed to drink on base at 18.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I know the military
It's not
bases
all.
are basically their own rules and stuff. It's my cousin's husband was in the army, and they were in Fairbanks, Alaska. And she says she told me the military base is just like its own world in a way. I mean, especially in Alaska, in
Yep.
Fairbanks, you got like the military. So it's something, there's so much that we need to take care of here and take care of each other. And when I used to have my podcast, I think like one of my last lines was, take care of yourself and take care of each other, which I think like Jerry Springer used to say at the end of his shows. But I didn't do like crazy controversial stuff. I did fun paranormal and nerdy stuff back then. So, but yeah, it was always like, we can do better. We have to take care of each other. We need to love one another. And I know I sound like a hippie. I apologize, but it's a humanity thing. And I think that's one of the big issues with mental health. I'll bring it back to mental health. It's humanity is in a really messed up place. And this outlet is an awesome community
It
for
is.
everybody. And as I said before, I do appreciate you, Eddie. You're a great person.
I'm gonna give a shout out to some people that came in. Charlie, how you doing? She said my brother was at West Point before he retired from the military. Sweaty, how you doing? I've noticed there's a lot of people that are going through something.
Absolutely.
And especially veterans. There's a lot of vets that are going through something and they don't have the outreach that they deserve. They don't get the help that they deserve.
Right.
They probably wouldn't be where they're at right now in a lot of cases if they had the right resources.
And it's so crazy to me, like with the military, I understand that, the way that people have to train when they're in the military, because you have to basically rebuild your psyche, because some people see horrible things and they have to do horrible things, that will scar them for life. So they have to be able to have that, sense of detachment while trying to still keep their humanity. It's a really delicate balance, and it's a really difficult balance to keep. A lot of people stray from that, and that's where, they can't keep that health. I don't even know if it's possible to have a healthy balance like that, where you're in a war zone, but you're still keeping your humanity. And that's where I think, it's so hard for these people. And they have to detach, and then they come home and they're expect to live life as a civilian once they retire. And how, there's not, I don't think there's enough help with that, the transition from being a soldier to a civilian and living your life as, if you have a family, or you have kids maybe, and it's like you got to be a parent again, and a spouse and a partner. And it's I hope there's
No,
some help, but I don't think there's enough.
not only that, can I bring this up? Not only that, there are people that are getting hired as nurses and caretakers who just sit on their ass and do nothing just because they get an extra 28% more than a regular RN at VA
Mhm.
hospitals.
Um,
And that's fucked up. I know,
yeah.
because I've had to light fires under some asses, because there was times
Language,
where my
DC, language, please, language.
uh, I didn't know we weren't allowed to swear anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
But because my father was sitting in his own filth
Oh,
for days, yeah, they
that's
wouldn't even help him
horrible.
take a shower or give him a bath with those bathing cloths,
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. Yeah, it's
And he
sad
served
because
this country, didn't he? See,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
yeah.
And I had to buy him underwear.
Oh,
Freaking $16 worth at the freaking a VA hospital gift shop
oh my
because we
gosh.
didn't have any. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, and you're having to. Is he still with us?
Yeah, he's still with us. He
Okay.
can't walk,
Oh,
blind.
oh wow.
He's going through severe depression. I keep telling his wife that maybe he needs to see a psychologist
Yeah.
or somebody, because I know my dad, he's always been stoic, and there's been times where I've seen him cry, but not this much.
Oh, that's so
Like
sad.
the fact that he can't walk and he can't see really gets to him, and
Oh,
he just
absolutely.
breaks up into tears like at the drop of a hat, you know?
Yeah. Right. And there are, I mean, I know it might take a little bit of research, but there are therapists and psychologists that are specially trained. I mean, hopefully they have them through the VA, of course, but like my therapist, that her husband is in the military, and that's what she initially wanted to do, but it kind of hit so close to home, too close to home for her, being a military spouse. But she was going to specialize in military veterans and stuff like that, because there is such a need for it, and a lot of it is specialized because there's different therapies that work better for them, those who have served and everything like that, because there's so much trauma that some of them have faced.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's really sad. Like I cannot stand like a caretaker, whether it be in a nursing home, a hospital, anywhere, home care person that doesn't have a passion for their job. That is a job that you need to be a special individual to perform. It's not just a 9 to 5 where you're going to clock in and clock out, get your stuff done. You need to have compassion. You need to have empathy. You need to be a caring person and show these people that you care for them like you would care for your own family. And there's not enough of that. It's
My
it's hard.
my
Well,
mom
well,
my mom was a CNA.
nowadays,
My mom was a
unfortunately,
CNA for 30 years, and she would get handed jobs that the nurses were supposed to do, and she would have to
Yeah.
get stuck doing them.
Oh yeah.
So
CNAs don't make enough.
yeah,
The good
no, they
ones at
don't.
least.
unfortunately nowadays in these facilities, it's basically become an ass in seat, a butt in seat. Sorry, Eddie. Collect a paycheck. Mm.
Yeah.
I
I
worked at
can't
a
stand
nursing
that
home.
attitude.
I worked at a nursing home one time, and I worked in the kitchen. I was a dietary aid specialist, and I always wanted to work with the patients, not be like a caregiver, but like just hang out and spend time with them.
And they need that, especially the
A
elderly
lot of
and
these,
people who are
yes,
disabled.
a lot of these parents or children put their mom and dad in the nursing home and never see him again. You know, she yeeted herself. She yeeted herself. I'll put the link back there. She yeeted herself. Boodlebug, how you doing? So I worked at a nursing home up in Maine, and I enjoyed it. But what I didn't enjoy is watching people get treated how they were not cared for. Um, and it was sad. It was sad. Um, so many children are like, well, they would be better off in a nursing home. Not really. You're sending them to die.
Not at all.
You know, don't get me wrong. Now, there are some nursing homes out there that have top of the line care.
Oh, absolutely. There's some great ones out there, but you have the bottom of the barrel ones. What I do for a living while I'm in school is I'm a pharmacy tech for long-term care facilities. So we fill prescriptions for people who are in nursing homes, assisted living. There's a couple independent care facilities that we fill their meds for. So, it's like I'm not one-on-one with the patients because we're in a separate location, but I have done vaccine clinics with my manager because he's a pharmacist, and I got certified in administering vaccines because I used to be a medical assistant. And I would go, and some of the facilities are like frickin' Hiltons. They're beautiful. They're so like high classy. There's a couple that we have though that are kind of iffy, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know about this place.
I know what Sweaty's talking about, DC. I know what she's going through. So I understand why she said that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a joke.
Comment. No.
Because I thought it was a troll for a second.
No, she's a paying member. She's not a troll. So, yeah, she's got a lot going on. I talked to her behind the scenes.
Okay.
I've noticed that a lot of us. Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
Jendi said, that's exactly what I thought about my mom. Hospice services were always on alert to get her into home, but I refused every time. All they wanted, in my opinion, like my grandmother, when she passed away, she was with her daughter, my Aunt Allie. She was home. She wasn't in no hospice. Because the thing is, she got, no, you're good, Sweaty. You're good. I know what you meant when you commented. Just a lot of people don't realize that I interact with a lot of people in chat behind the scenes. So.
Not only that, nursing homes suck on the level because if you don't have money, they take everything, including your home, and sometimes they take like $2,000, and sometimes most of the time they only give you $50 spending money if you live there. You don't get enough.
Yep.
I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get insurances to cover it. It's all, oh God, I hate I work in the medical field, and I have on and off for for most of my adult life, but I don't like pharmaceutical companies, and I don't like insurance companies, but I love what I do. I love helping people. And it's like, but it's such a crapshoot for some people. And I'm so thankful that my family, we're like you, Eddie, where if we can avoid putting our our older adult, our older relatives in the homes, we will avoid it. Like my grandparents were all cared for. My grandma lived with us until she passed away. She did pass away in the nursing home, unfortunately, only because she was there for, she had a hip surgery. She broke her hip, and she was there rehabbing because we couldn't provide her with that level of care. But she was supposed to come home once she was done recovering from her hip surgery. But, other than that, my other grandparents all passed at home because it's like, no, we are going to take care of them until the very end. And that's what I hope we can do with my parents and my aunts and uncles and everything. Cause it's just, it's more being surrounded by family. And once people are in a nursing home, I mean, I understand like the senior living community, some of them are actually great places, especially for people who don't have a big family like I do, where, they want to be around people their own age. And a lot of these communities have a lot of activities, and it's very social for them because socializing is one of the most important things to continue as we age, because isolation is very detrimental to our health as a whole. And it's funny we're talking about this because I'm actually taking psychology of aging right now, which is a really depressing but informative class, because aging is it doesn't have to be a horrible thing, but there's a lot of stuff we have to be aware of and, what
Oh,
to
it is.
look for.
There's a lot of things you got to be aware of.
Oh yeah, like ageism
Like,
and elderly abuse. It's like I pretty much like finish my seminar and do some homework and I just like go to bed because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta decompress because it's like, oh, people are so mean to the elderly. There's so much, and one of the things is we watched this TED talk about how to kind of reframe your mind with aging. And it's like, you worry about, like a lot of the superficial things people worry about that are just silly. A lot of us are self-conscious about wrinkles and graying hair and this and that. And it's like, you know what? If you age and you're healthy and you still can be active, it's like you have these blessings that you need to be aware of. But it's so hard. It's such a delicate balance for some people to achieve. And I think mindfulness is one of the things I'm learning to like utilize because having that sense of awareness, I think, is one of the steps. But it's hard to achieve
yep,
if, you're kind of stuck in a vicious cycle.
it is. It's difficult. You know, one thing I do is I respect my elders. You all right, DC? That was loud.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was my damn darn my tablet. I
But Gigi, how you doing, Gigi? One thing I will say this is that I can't stand elder abuse. That means bullying elders, respecting elders, treating them like shit. I can't stand it. I wouldn't do that to my own. Why do it to somebody else?
Yeah, and there's so many
I don't
levels.
understand.
There's so many levels and it can seem so benign from the outside, and I don't plan on getting into social work. Like a lot of this is geared towards social workers. One second.
I've thought about going back to school. I've thought about going back to school. I really have. And who knows, I might. It depends. I might. And if I do go back to school, it'll probably be for psychology.
Sorry, my kiddo popped in.
You're good. Pink Starburst. How you doing? So, Manda Panda says, I work for Bank of America fraud department, and we deal with that on a daily basis. Account account takeovers where the elders are abused and their money is just gone, usually by their kids. That is wild. It's like, um, why steal from your parents? They give you everything. Why steal? Just ask. How hard is it not just to ask? Say, Ma, Dad, can I borrow some money? Why steal it? And if they don't have the money to give to you, earn it yourself. Earn it. It's not. It's we're all talented people. We all have a gift to do something. It's not hard for any of us to earn money. Not hard at all. It might take some. It might take some. It might take some time, but it's hard. So, but I don't know. I just, the elderly go through so much mental health issues just like we do, younger people. Sometimes theirs is a lot worse because they're not able to do things like they used to be able to do. So it's just draining on them mentally. You know, not being able, some people can't even walk, you know, without a walker. Some people can't walk without a cane. Some people can't walk at all because of their age and their body weakening on them. You know, so they're going through a lot mentally. They're struggling with depression because they're not the same like they used to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of contributing factors for, depression in elderly people, and a lot of it is isolation and not feeling the same as you used to, health problems, losing loved ones, aches and pains. You're not as vibrant as you once were. And like the whole thing is what we talk about is having to help them through that if you can. Like if you have a loved one, even just visiting with them and showing them that they're not alone and they're still cared for.
Yep. So agree. So agree.
Yeah, elderly abuse really like gets me going too, because it's like any, abuse to anybody is, even an adult is horrible. But to vulnerable populations like children, elderly, animals, anybody who doesn't like is like less able to defend themselves, may not be as cognitive, people who are disabled may not be as, cognitive on what's happening to them. So anybody who takes advantage of a person like that, it's just like, oh, I get so worked up over that kind of thing.
Gigi says, I take care of my 93-year-old dad.
That's
I'd go straight
amazing.
to prison to protect him. I keep him well, and I keep him well kept and stay mentally positive for him every minute of the day. The struggle
That's
is real. Yes, Sarah. They are low.
Yeah, and that's amazing that
Sweet
you're
salute,
able to
Sarah.
take care of them.
Yep. You know,
Oh,
so my mother, I will tell you this, and I've shared it in previous lives, right? In my younger days, I wasn't the greatest son. But as I've grown older and matured through the years, I'm a mama's boy, always will be a mama's boy. My mom is 77 years old and she lives with me. So she'll be with me until she passes on.
I'm glad you could do that for her. I mean, watching my grandma, when she lived with us, most like my dad was the only child of hers that actually really took care of her. The rest of them, he was one of five, and there are three of them left. Two of them have passed on, but there was five siblings, and he was the only one who really took care of my grandma. She lived with us, and she would tell my brother and I that we are the reason she's still with us, because she had health problems. She had depression, she was an alcoholic, she survived colon cancer, she survived lung cancer twice, and one broken hip she survived, and then it was the second broken hip where I think, she was 82, and I think she was really depressed. She had recovered from the alcoholism, thankfully, but she was like, when my grandpa passed away, before, he passed before I was born, but that was like the love of her life. And when he passed, it's like the depression hit, and that's when the alcoholism happened, and she ended up getting colon cancer, and you know what I mean, all these things. But we kept her, you know, with that drive to want to live, because we kept her young and feeling needed. That's another big factor, is, you know, once elderly people, you know, their kids are all grown, their grandkids are growing up, you know, you know, moms, if they're moms and dads, for example, their kids are all grown, they're not feeling needed anymore. And a lot of women, especially, they have that, you know, that mom instinct. And when they don't have their kids at home anymore and they don't have anybody to take care of and make them feel needed.
You good, Sarah?
For a second, I thought it logged me out. Hello, Sarah?
I'm still here.
Oh,
I hear you, Eddie. I
I'm
can't hear
sorry.
Sarah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear
My-
you now.
I forgot that I'm on my phone, and then when the screen goes black, it cuts it off. I'm sorry. I forgot it did that. You know what? I'm so slow with technology and stuff. It's really funny. Like I was talking to allegedly about that, and the girls in the chats, they're talking about some tech stuff on Discord. And I'm like, I am so slow with technology. Like I'm 37, and like I even struggle with my phone sometimes. Like ah, but yeah, like I was saying, my parents are really lucky. Like my brother and sister-in-law bought their house, the house that we grew up in, and they live there, and they're both retired. And my brother and sister-in-law live in the upper level with their 3 kids, and my parents live in the lower level. So they're like the live-in babysitters, and they watch my daughter twice a week, and you know, they love it. And it's like, I hope that they're able to live that way as long as possible, because it's just, you know, they feel needed, they feel useful, they feel the grandkids, you know, like when you hear a lot of your parents, when they get grandkids, it's like they're different people as grandparents as they were as parents, because a lot of times, unless they're in a situation where they have to raise those kids, they're able to spoil the crap out of them and give them back. You know, it's like their joy. You know, it's like, okay, you get to go back by mom and dad now. So I don't know. It's just there's a lot of things that go into taking care of our elderly population. And you know, the baby boomers are, you know, getting to that age where they're passing away, unfortunately, and my parents are boomers. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm struggling with this class, because I'm like, oh my God, my parents are like getting older, and I'm getting older, and it's reality. And I think we have to
Yep.
reframe it and be mindful about it, and try to, instead of being depressed about it, try to be positive about it, and like think about how we can make the best of it rather than dreading it.
Yes, I
If that makes
totally
sense.
agree.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
hopefully going to be my approach, but it's easy to get stuck in the weeds sometimes when things start happening.
Yep. So I'm going to do a post on the community wall to get an idea on the best times I should go live. Okay, at night.
I think
So
Oh, I love the Golden
I think
Girls.
as long as you have. Sorry, Eddie.
go ahead,
Hello.
DC.
I was gonna say, I think as
Go
long
ahead.
as you have consistency, that really matters, because that's all viewers are trying to look for is consistency. So they could sketch out a day in their time, so they can spend time with you. As long as you're consistent and you have that time, they will be there.
Yes, it's a routine. It's having that routine.
Hmm.
You know, like if you don't live with your loved ones, you know, making a point like, all right, Sunday afternoon and evening, I'm going to go by mom's house and have dinner with her or take her shopping or, you know, what have you. And it's, you know, hopefully you can do more than that. But it's like we have to look at a lot of times, you know, to frame it as instead of thinking as these older people, our older loved ones, as a burden because they are maybe having health problems, you know, emotionally and physically, you know, a lot of people look at them as a burden. But, you know, one of the ways we can look at is what, like, their life experience, what they can share with us, you know, their advice. You know, they've come so far in life. You know, my great grandpa lived to be, I think, 96, and we still, like, my dad still passes down advice from him because he was, you know, he was born in 1895, you know, and he just had so much amazing wisdom and knowledge that, you know, it's still, even though times have changed, it's still so valuable today.
I don't know what that says. Non.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too. What does that mean, Rosalie? Non-squit, squit. I can't pronounce that word. I was gonna ask, what's that mean?
A
Sequitur?
conclusion or statement that does not logically follow the previous argument or statement. His weird mixed metaphors and non sequiturs. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah.
Is
Wisdom
she,
is golden, Gigi.
oh, is she?
Oh, I
Is
think
she
that when you
refer?
talking about the Golden Girls.
Oh, well, because she said she looked in the mirror and she does, and it's not the girl that she sees. And Dorothy, there was an episode of Dorothy talking about how she was talking to these high school girls because she was teaching and she just felt like she was one of the girls. And as soon as she got back to the car, she looked into the mirror, you know, the visor, and almost had a heart attack. She forgot that she was aging. It was one of the episodes. I don't know if it was the pilot episode
It was an
or what.
early episode. I still binge it on Hulu here and there. I grew up watching that show. I
Yeah,
probably have seen every episode a million times, and I still never get sick of the Golden Girls. It's literally
yeah.
one of my favorite shows. Yes, Gigi, wisdom is definitely golden from our elderly relatives. My gosh, like the things that some of them have seen and the lessons they have learned, they can pass on to us. You know, even though times are changing, these values, you know, are so solid, and not a lot of people are having good foundations of, you know, their identity and their values and everything. I think
Oh,
that's,
she
oh,
was
what?
talking about when you switched about going live. You were talking about aging and then you switched.
Yeah, I do that frequently. You know this, Rosaline.
We call
You
that
know this.
sidetrack.
Oh, sidetrack. I can go. I am very scatterbrained and I will go on tangents, and my tangent will lead to, I will think of something else, and 10 minutes later I will be 27 different subjects in, and I'm like, and
I'm
I'll
the
have to
same
reconnect the
way.
dots. Yeah,
I'm
you
the
gotta
same way. I'm like the human. Well, with not sans politics. I'm like the human view. I go from like one subject to the next. I'm like a freaking talk show. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm all over. I always joke around and say I am a wealth of useless knowledge. Some useful, but a lot of it's just useless. Like, why do I know this stuff?
Same. I call it dumpster brain. I just got everything. It's like a filing cabinet, but it's all
I love
disorganized.
I love that term. I
So,
feel that.
Viprin has a question. How do you start thinking positive when your whole life since you were born was hate against you.
I know that
How do
feeling.
you start thinking positive?
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you had an upbringing like that, guys. Like, I know a lot of people do unfortunately have upbringings where there's not enough love and, nurturing. And, it's funny, like, from what the little bit that I've seen of you guys is like, you guys are very, like, I don't know, you're very fascinating people in like a really, not like a weird way, but like a really good way. You have amazing knowledge. You have a good attitude. Yeah, you go through your depression. Like I said, I don't know you that well. I don't know the
Yeah,
extent, but
I'm semi-private with my private life. I reveal what I want to reveal and stuff like that. So, I don't
right.
feel much. But growing up, I was basically tossed around,
Mm,
uh, you know, from person to person growing up,
yeah,
like as a child. And not having that foundation and that stability
yeah, and that's
w-
so
was horrible.
detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
It's very detrimental to development. And when, I don't know, I'm sure Eddie has brought up, I think I've heard attachment, normal versus abnormal attachment. And honestly, I don't think I know anybody who is healthy attached has a healthy attachment style. Most of us have, abnormal attachment styles, whether it's anxious or avoidant. The anxious attached is, you're a people pleaser, you're afraid you're going to lose that person, you're very eager. Those are the ones who fall in love very quickly. And then, there's avoidant, which is, you disassociate more often. And, shit hits the fan, stuff hits the fan, sorry, Eddie, stuff hits the fan. And you're like, bye, you know what I mean? You just have that detached kind of feel for it. And then there's like, of what is it? There's another one, I can't think of it off the top of my head, I'll have to look at my notes. But yeah, I at this day and age, I don't know anybody who has a healthy attachment style, because we've all experienced some sort, because like our parents, most parents, not all parents, there's some horrible people out there, but most parents, they do the best they can with the knowledge that they've gained. Like my mom, for example, she was abused badly as a child. Like my grandma was an alcoholic and bipolar, and, undiagnosed, because they weren't as vigilant with mental health back then. So she self-medicated. So she was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and my mom was badly abused. And yeah, my mom's got some, mental health stuff going on, but considering how her upbringing was, I think she did the best she could, and she was a really good mom. She's got her, like I said, she's got her quirks and her issues, but I've learned to forgive her for those things. But I know there's people out there who have had it much worse. Like you said, you were, shifted from place to place, and there was no stability. That I can't imagine. My family system was very stable. I was lucky that way. My issues were more of like my mom's insecurities reflecting on me and making me insecure and stuff like that. But it's, that's neither here nor there at the moment. But, it's more like, yeah, how do you move on from that? I think it's it's something that you really have to look into different treatments. Like, I don't know, Vibrant, if you've done EMDR. There's different types of trauma therapies that are valuable, that they're learning more about nowadays. There's exposure therapy, there's EMDR. Exposure therapy, I can't remember exactly what they use that for, but a lot of it is more like with phobias. and a few other things, I believe. But EMDR is a lot of what they use for trauma. It's rewiring your brain, because when you are abused or traumatized, your brain literally is wired differently. Like your prefrontal cortex, or your amygdala swells, and that's your fight, flight, freeze, fawn, your kind of your primal instinct part that swells because you're always on guard. You're always like, what am I going to do? That's what releases the cortisol, tells the cortisol to release, which is the stress hormone. And that actually swells a little bit. That's your amygdala. And then your hippocampus is what controls kind of your Jason, I'm so sorry. Oh
That
my
scared
goodness.
me. Oh, that scared me. I was like, where did that hide come from? Oh, I just jumped out of my chair. It's okay. It's okay, Sarah. Oh, wow. What's up, Mo? How you doing? I really think this is a really good conversation. I really do. Being able to conversate with somebody that is going to school for psychology. So it is. Psychology is so fascinating. Okay. Because you learn about the brain. The brain is so fascinating. Because majority of us only use 10% of it. It's Little Boston, Tammy Clips. Hope everybody's doing well. A lot of people don't realize is that our brain is detriment. Thank you for coming up, Sarah, and sharing your input. Thank you. You're always welcome. You're always welcome. What are you doing, DC?
Oh, sorry, I was checking my DMs. Sorry. This thing, I need to put it in vibrate. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, mommying comes first. One of these days, I want to do a live, Sarah, where it's just, even if we got to do it earlier on in the day when you're free, we could do that. Gigi's like, DC, get it together. Because I would like to pick your brain in a conversation, and get your input, from somebody who deals with depression and who is going to school for it. Thank you for being here, BB. Enjoy yourself. Because there's a lot of people who are in the mental health field who has never lived it. Just saying. So, but I'm gonna drop the link and see if anybody else wants to join us on panel.
Yeah. Is it okay if we try to lighten the mood a little bit?
I'm usually free after 6 Central. I just have my kiddo Monday and Friday, overnight every other weekend. Okay.
Awesome.
So, what's today? So, Wednesday. We'll schedule it Wednesday. If you're down with it, Wednesday. Let me know. Just let me know in the message. Because I would love it. I would love it. All honesty, I would love it. So I am going to step down. I got some phone calls I got to make before it gets too late. And, oh, Rosaling's coming up. Never mind.
Okay.
Rosaling,
Hey.
look at that beautiful.
Stop it. We'll just do this. So I'm one of the guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, this is a great topic. And I wanted to make sure that you were seeing some of my comments because you didn't touch on them, and that's okay. But being one of the older people in the chat, there's a whole lot of stuff that I've got in my head that I'm just so willing to share. But like the chat says, you know, who's going to listen to a boomer at this point? You know, everybody thinks they're
Who's going to listen to a boomer?
I mean, seriously. I mean, you know me. Most people in here know me, and it's just a matter of when I am facilitating classes at certain events here in my local area. There are, how can I put this? There's a whole lot of stuff I could keep people from having to go through if they just frickin' listen, you know? Just listen to a story. Exodus, Sicily, 1929, you know?
Yeah.
You just got to hear a story and then see how it affects you and how you can relate to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Ginger, take care.
And yeah, a lot of people got to leave now because, you know, the boomer's talking. But I wanted to address Viprin. I know you may or may not have seen my stuff, Viprin, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But on the channel that I used to have lives on, I used to do a lot of mindfulness and gratitude. And not everybody gets it, and it's not meant for everybody. And I know when you are in the middle of chaos in your life, or that's the only thing you know, it's hard to train your brain to look for the good. And that's what I would encourage everyone to do. Even if I used to do this Thankful Thursdays, every Thursday is just tell me 3 things, write it down, spit it out. I don't care what you do. 3 things that you're thankful for today. Just today. You know, if waking up was a good thing, then yay. If you didn't wake up, then maybe that was a good thing too. But you know what I'm saying? It's the small things, that you have a roof over your head, that you have wheels in your ass. I mean, you know, that you can move around, that you can use your brain, that you can use your computer, that you can breathe in and out. You know, that starts real small. And for me, it just blossomed into all kinds of things. So if you want to write it down, write it down. If you don't want to write it down, don't write it down. But I tell you what, there have been studies made, and that's what I go into in some of the videos that I have, like I said. There are studies that I quote and bring up that put into perspective the fact that gratitude and becoming more mindful of your own thoughts can be so productive and so uplifting and encouraging. So I would just encourage everyone to just think of three things, you know. And if your mind gets filled with all kinds of, well, what if this, and I could have done that, but stop. So push a reset button and start over. I used to push my third eye, just point your finger to the third eye and say, reset, bad thoughts. I'm just saying, it could be your temple. It could be the EMP tapping, if that's what you're into. I'm just saying there are options, and what works for one may not work for another. And what didn't work for one might be perfect for another. So don't give up, dude.
Don't ever give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Don't.
Yep.
There are plenty of people here for you.
Totally.
So,
and in Discord.
Thank you for coming up and giving us your input, Rosaline. It's always important. You're a book of knowledge.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I see it.
And
that you look so pretty with your hair down.
Yeah, thanks.
No, Rosaline. One thing I can say. I can say this because I read this from a guy. I got this quote from a guy in his 90s.
Yeah.
Well, and this was 20 years ago. So he's probably no longer with us. But if he was, he'd be 113. But I got this quote from a guy in his 90s. He said, no matter how old we get, we learn more every day. No matter how old we get, we're still learning. My grandmother used to say, I forgot more than you were ever learned. Yeah.
See, I used to say
my grandmother used to tell me, I forgot more than you were ever learned. My grandmother used to say that to me all the time. My grandmother was like, I took my computer apart one day, right? And I was upset. Mm-hmm. I couldn't figure out how to put it back together. She's like, just leave it on the dining room table. So I did. Not realizing my grandmother was like, I didn't think she was going to fix it. I thought she was going to bring it to somewhere to get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. She fixed it for me.
That's amazing.
And I'm younger than she is. I should have remembered how I took it apart and put it back together, and I forgot. And she put it back together for me man. And that was a lifesaver because that computer, that was my lifeline. It wasn't for internet. It wasn't for anything special. It was for music. All my music. Okay. Because they didn't have Spotify back then. So
in the old days.
Yeah.
Good old vinyl.
So this is back when they first came out with the iPod.
Yeah.
Where you can put your music on it to it.
I remember the MP3 player.
Yeah, Napster days.
The cassette tapes that you wait for the radio.
I grew up with mixtapes, and I ain't just talking CDs. I grew up with actual mixtapes.
The cassette tapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. An 8-track, which you couldn't record, but you play 8-track.
Mm-hmm.
But when they went digital, like when they still had the CD player, but they didn't have the cassette tapes,
mm-hmm.
What I would do is I would burn copy all my CDs onto the computer.
Yes.
And then I would take all the music. Yes. LimeWire. You guys remember LimeWire?
I remember that in FrostWire.
That's where I got all my music.
That's amazing. And I'm glad you didn't lose it because your grandma figured it out. See, I'm good because I'm good at taking
now we have it on our
together.
Now we have it on our smartphones now. We can just type in the band's name or the artist's name and it's there.
Right?
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff. Although
Mm.
I hate to say this, I'm aficionado of physical media. I like tangible stuff you can touch, whether it's books,
Yeah, but you're
uh,
special.
media, CDs, mostly vinyl because I grew up with vinyl, and I know it's made a comeback. I just love the sound of vinyl, you know, and like stuff like that. You know, digital is like I get save the trees, save the planet, but I like things you could hold in your hand.
There's
You
nothing
know,
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
yeah.
It's
But
medium for everyone. But
Hmm.
I just wanted to make sure that I could get my gratitude words out there and see if it helped Vibrant or anyone. So I didn't want to take over your chat, so I'll just shut up now.
You don't have
so
to shut up.
tomorrow, just to give everybody a heads up, you probably will be here, you probably won't be, but tomorrow during the day, I'm doing a day live. Just give everybody a heads up. I am going to be doing a fundraiser for a friend of mine's whose house burnt down. Him and his mother lost everything. So, a dear friend. So, I'm going to be doing that tomorrow during the day. And if people can help, they can. If they can't, they can't. And that's understandable. But it's just a dear friend. He lives 3 towns away from me. He lost everything. Everything. So, but I'll be here tomorrow afternoon, day live, and see what happens. So
Sounds good. Hey, listen, Eddie, you were going to go live
it's
last
tough.
night, weren't you?
I decided against it.
Okay, because I was waiting out. One of the video creators,
Something
one of the
something
creators that I
happened.
watch.
You know, I'll hit you up after the live stream.
No worries.
Rosalind.
I hear you. One of the creators, video creators I watch on YouTube comes on at 1 a.m. And so I was hanging out after hers to
Okay.
see. And I'm glad you're fine. I'm glad you decided against it. And it wasn't just me missing it somehow. So you're good. You're
Yeah.
good.
Nope, I didn't do it.
Okay.
Hey, Rosalind, would it be okay if I sorry, I was gonna ask Rosalind if it'd be okay if I DM'd her on Discord.
Yeah, maybe a day or two before I see it, but yes, you may. And I will try and get better about watching there.
Okay, cool.
And you too, Eddie. I will do better to get to Discord to converse with you.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna hit you up somewhere else.
Okay. Baby.
So yeah. That didn't sound right.
Because I'm 12 years old.
That came out totally wrong. That came out totally wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
yeah,
Rosalind, I'm sorry.
See, we needed that laugh. See, we needed that laugh. All right.
It came out wrong.
So with that, I'm gonna go down to the green room and talk to me after your show. Okay.
Rosalind.
I'm gonna hang out in the green
Love you.
room.
All right. Oh my God. Thank you for coming up, DC.
You're welcome. Let me get out of here.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, take care. How do I? There you go.
I got you. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me on tonight's live. Tomorrow during the day, you already heard what I was going to say. A friend of mine, I will be live tomorrow afternoon with images. I'll probably try to get him to come up on panel. I don't know if he will, but I'll see you tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's live is going to be about grief and loss. So I am sticking to that schedule. I apologize in advance for not doing it today because I said I would. But today was a dear friend's birthday. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Viprin, thank you for being here. GG, Pink Starburst, everybody in chat. Mo, you all, thank you for being here. You guys are always welcome. Love you guys. Just remember, you're not alone. And just remember, do not complicate life. Missing somebody, call them. Want to meet up, invite them. Want to be understood, explain it. Have a question, ask. Don't like something, fix it. Like something, state it. Want something, work for it. Love someone, tell them. Keep life simple. With that being said, all things serious is out, my friends.
Let's talk about the mind for a minute. The kind of battles fought, you don't just win it. It's a war zone inside, no camouflage. Every thought's a grenade, sitting ready to barrage. Growing up, they said man up, but never speak up. So I bottled it all, like a shaking soda cup. Pressure building inside, I could feel it crack. But the world outside only sees the mask, not the fact. Depression knocking at the door, anxiety's my guest. They invited themselves in, now I'm under duress. But mental health ain't a weakness, it's the strength to own. Every scar, every tear, every struggle we've honed. It's okay not to be okay. Don't let anyone take your light away. In the darkness, you'll find your voice. Speak your truth, make your choice. It's okay not to be okay. Don't let anyone take your light away. In the darkness, you'll find your voice. Speak your truth, make your choice. Seamless like a shadow, it follows you around. But I'm breaking the silence, gonna tear it down. Got therapy sessions, journaling pages, finding peace in the chaos, flipping life stages. Self-love's a journey, not a destination. Gotta navigate the pitfalls, find your elevation. No shame asking for help, we all need a hand. Together we rise like a hip-hop band. So let's rewrite the narrative, redefine the game. Mental health ain't just a buzzword, it's our flame. Illuminate the darkness, spark the conversation. All things serious and mental health, a powerful combination. It's okay not to be okay. Don't let anyone take your light away. In the darkness, you'll find your voice. Speak your truth, make your choice. It's okay not to be okay. Don't let anyone take your light away. In